If you are around 40 years old, you have probably spent the last 2 decades trading your energy for a paycheck, only to feel like you are running on a financial treadmill that keeps speeding up. What if there was a silent mathematical force that could take a single $20 bill and turn it into a tireless employee that breeds new cash for you while you sleep? In this video, we are breaking down the exact mechanics of compound interest to show you how money actually grows when you stop working for it. You'll discover the shocking cost of waiting just 10 years to start and why a simple daily lunch change can compound into a $25,000 cash cushion. The most surprising historical example of how one legendary investor built 98% of his massive fortune after his retirement years is coming up. But first, let's unlock the foundation.
Welcome back to Teddy's Wealthcraft, where we help everyday Americans protect their hard-earned money and find the financial freedom that others miss. If you are ready to take control of your financial destiny, hit that like button and follow the channel. The real turning point of this strategy is a concept called the 5-year curve, and understanding it will completely change how you view your monthly budget, so let's get started.
Let us have an honest conversation about the pressure of midlife. If you are in your 40s, you are likely in your peak earning years. You have more money coming in than you did in your 20s, but you also have far more responsibilities. You are balancing a mortgage, household bills, your kids' future college expenses, and the quiet worry of what your retirement years will actually look like. Most hardworking people try to solve this financial pressure by working harder. They trade more hours for more dollars, look for a side hustle that consumes their evenings, or pray for a raise at their day job. But here is the hard truth. You cannot work your way to true wealth using only your physical labor.
If you do not understand the difference between making money and letting your money grow, you will work for 40 years of your life and end up with almost nothing to show for it. Right now, only 49% of American adults can correctly answer basic financial literacy questions. That is basically a coin flip. And the concept that almost everyone gets wrong, the one that costs people the most money across their lifetime, is compounding. Albert Einstein allegedly called compounding the 8th wonder of the world. He said those who understand it earn it, and those who do not pay it. To understand why compounding is so powerful, we have to look at the biology of money. Most people view a dollar bill as a token to be traded for something temporary, like a coffee, a meal, or a gadget. But wealthy people look at a dollar through a biological lens. Every single dollar you save and invest is a living seed with the potential to grow an entire tree. Or to put it even more simply, every dollar is an employee that can breed and have babies.
When you spend $1 on something you do not need, you are not just losing that dollar, you are destroying its entire future family tree. But when you put $1 to work in a compounding asset, that dollar earns interest or dividends. That return is your dollar's first baby. Now, instead of one worker, you have 2. If you reinvest that return, those baby dollars grow up and start having their own babies. That is compound interest.
Most people never realize this, but the difference between linear growth and compounding growth is the difference between addition and multiplication. Let us break down the simple math so you can see exactly how this machine operates. Imagine you place $1,000 in an account that earns 10% interest per year. At the end of year 1, your $1,000 has earned 10%, which is $100. You now have $1,100 in your account. Now, in year 2, here is the critical shift that most people gloss over. You do not earn 10% on your original $1,000. You earn 10% on the new balance of $1,100. This means in year 2, you earn $110, bringing your total to $1,210.
In year 3, you earn 10% on $1,210, which is $131, bringing your total to $1,331. At first, this looks incredibly slow.
The difference between earning $100 in year one and $110 in year two feels completely insignificant. It is easy to look at your account, feel discouraged, and assume the system does not work. But compounding is not a straight, predictable line. It is a curve that looks almost completely flat for years and then turns almost entirely vertical. Think of a tiny snowball rolling down a long hill. At the top of the hill, when you first push the snowball, it barely picks up any snow. It looks ridiculous, and you might think it is a waste of time. But the snowball is not failing. It simply is not big enough yet for its size to matter.
If you give it more hill and keep your hands off the gears, the exact same snowball that felt useless at the top gathers enough mass to turn into an unstoppable avalanche. The snowball does not suddenly become a different snowball. The process does not change. The size does.
Let us look at a real-world example that shows the devastating price of waiting to start your snowball. Imagine you invest $10,000 in a basic S&P 500 index fund. Historically, the S&P 500 has delivered an average annual return of around 10.2% over the past 30 years, according to JP Morgan's data. For this example, let us use a conservative 10%. If you invest that $10,000 at age 25, here is what your money does over time without you ever adding another single dollar. By age 35, your $10,000 has grown to about $25,937. By age 45, it has grown to $67,275. By age 55, it is worth $174,494. And by age 65, your original $10,000 seed has compounded into over $452,000. But now, look at what happens if you wait just 10 years and invest the exact same $10,000 at age 35 instead of 25. By age 65, your investment has only grown to $174,494. That 10-year delay cost you over $278,000 in lost compounding. You put in the exact same $10,000, but because you started 10 years later, you ended up with less than half the wealth. The final insight we are building toward changes everything about how you protect your money from the reverse power of compounding. To see this power at an even larger scale, let us compare two everyday investors, Alex and Veronica. Both are 22 years old when they start their careers. Alex immediately starts putting $300 a month into a low-cost index fund, earning a 10% average annual return. Alex keeps this habit up for 43 years until reaching age 65. Over his lifetime, Alex contributes a total of $154,800 of his own money. By age 65, Alex's account has compounded into approximately $2.1 million. Now, let us look at Veronica. Veronica decides to spend her 20s and 30s living more freely, telling herself she will start saving later. At age 40, Veronica realizes she needs to get serious. She starts investing the exact same $300 a month into the exact same index fund. Veronica keeps this up for 25 years until she reaches age 65. Over her lifetime, Veronica contributes a total of $90,000 of her own money. By age 65, Veronica ends up with around $354,000. Look at the difference. Veronica contributed $90,000, while Alex contributed $154,000, which is only about 1.7 times more money than Veronica. But because Alex started 18 years earlier, his final retirement nest egg is 6 times larger than Veronica's. Alex did not have a better strategy, and he did not pick hot stocks. He simply gave his snowball more hill to run on. But what if you were already 40 years old, like Veronica was? Does that mean the game is over? Absolutely not. The most famous investor in history, Warren Buffett, is worth around $150 billion. But 98% of his massive fortune was built after his 65th birthday. At age 65, Buffett was worth about $3 billion.
an incredible sum. But his snowball was so massive by then that the curve turned completely vertical during his senior years. Even if you are starting today in your 40s, you still have a 25-year runway before retirement. That is more than enough time for a disciplined compounding snowball to completely secure your financial future, provided you keep your hands off the gears and let the math do the work.
Before you can let compounding work for you, you must stop it from working against you. Because compounding is a universal law of math. It does not care about your intentions. The exact same force that builds wealth for patient investors is actively destroying the finances of millions of Americans through high-interest debt. Let us look at the average credit card APR in the United States, which sits at over 21%. Total American credit card debt has reached a staggering $1.28 trillion.
Imagine you carry $5,000 in credit card debt and only make the minimum payment of 1 to 2% of the balance each month. At 21% interest, you will be paying off that $5,000 debt for over 15 years, and you will end up paying back between $12,000 and $14,000 in total. You borrowed $5,000, but you paid back nearly 3 times that amount because the interest compounded against you every single month.
If you are paying 21% interest on debt while trying to earn 10% on investments, you are losing the math battle. That is why your absolute first investment must be paying off any high-interest debt. Paying off a credit card charging 21% interest is the exact mathematical equivalent of getting a guaranteed 21% return on your money, and nothing in the stock market can beat that without serious risk.
We are about to reveal the exact daily habit that made a simple cashier over $25,000. But first, you must understand the 5-year curve of momentum. If you want to make compounding work with serious force, you can use a structured approach called the 2-3-5 principle. This is a roadmap designed to help you reach a financial point of no return in exactly 5 years.
Years 1 and 2 are the foundation. These are the slow years where your growth feels completely invisible. You are putting in $200 or $300 in profit. Your brain will tell you to quit. But this phase is simply testing your patience. By the end of year 2, your small returns from the first year start producing returns of their own. You are no longer working alone. Your money has hired little fragments of profit to work beside you.
Years 3 and 4 are the acceleration. This is where your money stops walking and starts running. By year 3, your total gains in that single year are often bigger than what you made in the first 2 years combined. By year 4, you will check your account and realize your balance is increasing faster than your actual monthly deposits. The interest you earned in year 3 is now generating more interest on its own than your entire investment did in year 1. You have entered a self-sustaining loop. Year 5 is the explosion. This is where compounding stops growing quietly and starts roaring. In just 12 months, your portfolio's passive growth can equal or even exceed your entire contribution over the previous 4 years. Your money is now doing more work than you are.
It is incredibly easy to look at these big numbers and feel overwhelmed, assuming you need a massive salary to start. But wealth is built on small, repeatable daily habits, not giant leaps. Take the story of a cashier who decided to track every single dime she spent for a month. She noticed that quick, impulsive daily snack runs were silently bleeding $150 a month from her budget. She made one simple adjustment. She started packing her own lunches and set up an automatic transfer of that $150 straight into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. 10 years later, those homemade sandwiches had compounded into a cash cushion of over $25,000.
She did not need a finance degree, a massive salary, or luck. She simply needed a small snowball, a hill, and the discipline to keep her hands off the gears. If you want to duplicate her success, you can start today by taking 3 immediate steps.
automate your savings. Set up your account so that money leaves your checking account and goes directly to your investments the moment your paycheck lands. Money you never see is money you never miss. Reroute quiet expenses. Look for the unused subscriptions, forgotten fees, or grab-and-go snacks that are quietly bleeding your budget and redirect that money straight into your compounding snowball. Invest in broad market index funds. You do not need to be a stock-picking genius. A single low-cost index fund that tracks a wide slice of the American economy will keep your fees low and let time do the heavy lifting.
The hill is waiting, and your snowball is ready to roll. Staying financially vulnerable after hearing this is not bad luck. It is a choice. You are far too smart to make that choice.
If you could convert just one minor daily luxury into an automatic compounding investment this week, what would it be? Let me know in the comments below. If this brought you value, drop a like and follow Teddy's Wealthcraft to think smarter, protect your family, and see the financial opportunities that others miss. If you want to make sure your compounding engine never fails, click on the video on your screen right now to discover the one monthly habit you must start doing today.